This tutorial has two objectives. First, you'll learn how to access LAUSD's digital library from home, and second, you'll learn some search tips to use when searching the databases in the digital library. So let's start with how to access the digital library from home. So LAUSD subscribes to a number of different databases that give you access to online information that can help you with your research. And if you're in the library, there's a link on every library computer's desktop that says Research Databases, and so you can quickly access the digital library that way. Let's say though that you're at home and you realize you have a homework assignment or a report to do that requires some online research. Using the databases is a good way to ensure that the information that you're getting is accurate and reliable. So you can still access it at home by opening up a web browser and going to Google and then typing in the following: LAUSD Digital Library, and hitting search. When you do that, it should be the first link that pops up, so go ahead and click on that. When you scroll down, you will see a button that says Remote Access. Remote meaning you're not at school, you're away from the campus, so click on that. And then you need to enter in your LAUSD email address and password, which brings you to the page that says Welcome to Digital Library. Now that you know how to log in from home, we're going to demonstrate how to do a few simple searches. So I'd like to start by searching for a term that many of you probably have done research on before, because you cover it in 6th grade history. Next, let's look for Egypt. So when we click on search, we'll see that a lot of different results come up, 1.2 million to be exact. This isn't very useful for us because that's a lot of results to search through. So we want to make sure that we go to advanced search, because this allows us to broaden or narrow our search a bit, depending on what we'd like to do. So in the advanced search, notice that you have the option of entering multiple terms, and you can also select where you want the term to occur. And we're going to stick mostly to title searches for the purpose of this tutorial, just to make it less complicated, but be aware that you can look for a term in all text, meaning the title and everything else in the article. And you can also look for subject terms, although that can get a bit tricky if you don't know the exact subject that something is entered under. You can also look for author if you happen to know the author. You can look for the journal title, and so on. So there are many different options here, but as I said, we're mostly going to stick to title searches. So let's go ahead and do a title search. And let's say, though, that I am aware that sometimes there might be the word Egypt in the title, but sometimes it might be the adjective form, Egyptian. So I want to account for that by using what we call a wildcard, which is an asterisk. So you type an asterisk by hitting Shift and then 8, and that means that our search will bring up results both for Egypt and for Egyptian. So let's go ahead and conduct that search. When we do so, you will see that there are quite a few results, 142,000 about, and that again probably isn't very useful for us. But let's say that our teacher asked us to look for Egyptian hieroglyphics. So now we can get a little bit more specific. So we're going to use the Boolean search operator and the two terms that we're going to search for will be Egypt or Egyptian and hieroglyphics. And the reason that I'm doing this is that other civilizations did use hieroglyphics, and so we want to make sure that we are sticking only to the Egyptian hieroglyphics that our assignment is about. And I'm also going to do a title search for this as well. And watch what happens when we do a title search for both. We go from 142,000 results to 15. And generally, if both terms are in the title, probably they'll be a pretty big part of the article that they're in. So that's one way that you can narrow down your search, using the Boolean search operator and. And many people think that the word and would lead to more search results, because you always think of it as things being added together when you use and. However, it means that both of these terms, Egypt and Egyptian and hieroglyphics, need to be in the article title. And so that actually narrows down our search results, because not as many articles will have both terms as articles that have just Egypt. All right, so that's how to use the search operator and. Next, we're going to show you how to use the search operator or. So let's say that we're searching for information about the United States. All right, so this is a pretty big topic, but for the purposes of demonstrating this, it will work. Let's go ahead and click search. And notice that we have 1.3 million results. But maybe you realize, hey, wait a minute. Our country isn't always called the United States. Sometimes it's referred to as America as well. And so we want to make sure that we find results for America also. So what we can do is choose the Boolean search operator OR and go ahead and type in the term America. Now the OR means only one of these has to be present in the title because we're going to do a title search for this as well. And so that means that we'll get more search results than if we're just looking for United States in the title. And notice we go from 1.3 million to about 1.8 million. So it did definitely add to our search results. Obviously this isn't a realistic search, but for the purposes of demonstration, it does show you what OR will do. It broadens our search. The final thing that I wanted to show you was what happens when we use not. Let's say that we're doing research on bears. And so our search term is bear. So when we go ahead and click on search, looking for the word bear in bin titles, we get about 164,000 different options. But let's say that we don't really care about grizzly bears. We're interested in other kinds of bears. What we can do is exclude, meaning leave out the term grizzly from our search. And we do that by using the Boolean search operator not. So if you click on not and then enter in grizzly, it will mean that it looks for search results that include the term bear, but not if it includes the term grizzly. And it's highly unlikely that grizzly would be part of the title. It's probably just a general article about bears. So I'm going to go ahead and say all text for this one. So we're removing all texts that mention grizzly bears because we're not interested in them. So notice we go from about 164,000 to about 156,000. So we took out about 8,000 search results that would not be relevant to us because we're not interested in grizzly bears. Before we finish this tutorial, just a couple of other things to point out. On the left-hand side are some options that let you refine results at any time during your search. And I'm not going to explain all of them, just a couple of the more important ones. So notice that right now it's limited to full text, which is probably a good idea because you want something that you can access online. Your teacher may also tell you that you have to find peer-reviewed research, and peer-reviewed means that it's been reviewed by a panel of experts that are looking at its accuracy and its appropriateness for publication. And so if you click this, it probably will limit the results, but it'll mean that the results that you're getting are even more scientifically accurate. And you also can change the publication date. Let's say that your teacher says that he or she wants research from within the last 10 years. If you're doing something where things are changing, a subject like technology and so on. What you can do is take this slider and move it so that you're looking at a much more narrow range of publication dates. So within the last 10 years, you choose 2007 to 2017, and then it would update the results. Probably not such an important thing to do for bears, but again, if it's something having to do with a field that's rapidly changing, you probably want to make sure you're getting more current research. So this concludes our tutorial. Just as a review, you've learned how to access the digital library remotely from home, and you've also learned how to use the search operators and, not, and or. And once again, a reminder, and narrows down your search because you're looking for two different terms that both have to be in the results in order for it to be a result. Or widens the search because you're only looking for one or the other, not both of them. And then finally, not excludes terms. So use this if you're trying to leave out a subject that you're not interested in. That concludes our tutorial, and you will finish this by taking the quiz that follows. Thank you very much.